what you made me. Look what you made me. Look what you made me. Look what you made me do.
What's good people? Thought-provoking podcast, man. Hope y'all good out there. Whoa. Wait, let me stop. Environment. We talking about environment today. Huh? Our surroundings. That's what we getting into today. But hope you guys are doing good today. Hope you guys are having a good week. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hey, man. I hope you guys have a good month and a good year. Hey, check me out, man. Before we get started, I'd like you guys to click that like, share, and subscribe. HBO special. You already know what I say, man. Help a brother out. Hey, man. Thank you guys for those 1 or 2 comments out there. I know some people out there listening. You want to work. There's a lot of negativity out here, man. That's why we get into this thing called environment. I wrote a couple of things down. You know, I got my notes here. I'm starting to be a little bit more organized with the things I do. You know, my mind is everywhere. You know, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. But hey, man, I'm about to get started, man, on this environment. Your environment influences your mindset. How many people believe that out there? How many people think who you hang around dictates or the area you in, what you listen to, what you watch, what you read, that all dictates your movement in your mind and how you think, how you look at others, how you look at situations, how you may behave in particular situations. May I say that? How you may look at somebody else, your environment, it dictates a lot of things. So let me read this real quick. Having an environment that supports a positive mindset is beneficial because it influences your thoughts, emotions, and overall well-being. A positive environment can foster a more optimistic and realistic outlook, improve mental health, and enhance productivity. Now, what I just said, how many people can sit back and correlate with that? Well, you know, I always have to jump into the examples. And I always use myself. It's not too many times I use somebody else as an example because wisdom comes from experience. And when you have certain experience in certain areas, you share that, right? You know, I grew up in an environment with a man that always showed productivity. He's very stoic. He's still out. I was about to say was. He's a very stoic individual. You know, regardless on what was going on, he always put things on the back burner and handled things with a positive mindset. Now, by putting a lot of things on the back burner, is that like a good or a bad thing? On this podcast, I can't really say yes or no. Some things need to be looked at as far as when you're dealing with other people. But I'm sitting here telling you, the environment from which things occurred, he always handled it. I'm telling you, this man was put in a lot of situations. One thing he always did, regardless on what was going on, he kept his health. He was always in the gym room, you know? Always. Regardless if he was sick, he was in the gym room. If he was sick, he was at work. If he was sick, he was still tuning me up. I'm not talking about as far as putting hands. I'm talking about giving me a certain outlook on life, telling me what can be done. That was the environment I was in. Now, can I sit back and say that's everybody's environment? No, it's not. I can't sit here and say everybody should think the way that I think. I'm sitting here putting this out there in the air to sit back and let you know. You have to check the space in which you put yourself in. You know, how people conversate. You know, how people throw people's name in certain places without throwing themselves in a type of mix of what they done. You know, how they're talking about, yeah, I've been to the gym. You know, it might not been a good day, but I was there. You know, I woke up this morning. I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to go to work, but I went. You know, a lot of the times I hear stories about people talk about, yeah, I called off today because I didn't feel like going. Oh man, Linda, listen. Listen, let me tell you. It's the mindset. What's in the air today? What people talk about today? The biggest conversation is the orange man. Who's the orange man? Y'all know. Y'all know I'm not gonna get him. But a lot of people may know what I'm saying when I say what I say. They know what I'm saying. The orange man. Racism, violence. That's at the top of the list of oh, you heard what happened last night? Sports. I don't know when the last time I actually sat and watched a game. Like I think it had to be like 4 or 5 years ago. It's what Ashton Thompson, Ulysses is his name. He took me to the actually my first live football game. You know, he took me to my first live football game, and that was an amazing day for me to sit back and experience that. But I don't know when. And before that time, I don't know when is the time I actually sat and watched a game. You know, because my thought process has always been, even when coming out of what I came out of in Chicago for that 7-year stint, if it wasn't bringing me any type of productivity to my mind or my body, or even, financial, I really didn't really give it any energy, if I can say that, even like right now. Like, I know a lot of people, they call me and I just sit back and like, hey, I can't talk right now. It's not a shot on them. It's just I need to put myself in a certain spot, environment-wise. Because, a lot of people I talk to, it always goes towards the, man, when this happened back then, and this person made, and it is a couple of people that I grew up with. It's not the Chicago problem, child. So, not so don't think it's you, my boy. You iron sharp as iron, bro. But what if I talk to you, But when you give a person the, hey, bro, don't think like that, and they tell you something different, there's not too many conversations we gonna have, because for one, the environment. Listen to me. The environment. If we can't tune each other up on our wrongs, there's no need for us to have a conversation. Now, I love everybody I grew up with and came across with in my life. The environment, that's the man I grew up with. He didn't hate nobody, regardless. Now, he removed himself from situations. Check the environment. He removed himself if somebody didn't respect him. The same way. Somebody doesn't respect you, there's no need for you to prove yourself. They don't respect you for a reason. So you can't change that in their minds. My father taught me this. You can't change an individual's thoughts in their mind, because guess what? Perspectives don't lie to them, because that's their experience with them. There's no need for you to prove them wrong on anything, or even be down, because you can have an option. Exit, stage left, or right, whatever way you want to go. But the people you surround yourself with, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, what you listen to from others, not just on this social media, from others that you hang around, your friends, it actually impacts you mentally. It allows you to maneuver a certain type of way. Like right now, it's like me, I'm big on making sure they good before I'm good. I might not see things in certain lights as far as taking in the emotions of other when things are going on with me or around me. Yeah, I can admit that the environment I grew up in. You see me? I got blind spots. Don't sit here because I'm sitting here talking to you guys that I don't have blind spots in my life. Everybody has them. Everybody, check what I say. Everybody has blind spots. Those areas that which you need to work on, but fail to do so because you can't see them. That's why they call blind spots. I'm gonna make a podcast about the blind spots. But conversely, on the flip side, check me out. from what I just read to you. On the flip side, conversely, a negative or chaotic environment can negatively impact your mental health and make it harder to achieve your goals. Man, that's big. I grew up in a gang-ridden, drug-infested area. And I'm telling you, at the age of 15, I knew what I didn't want to do or wouldn't want to be. I knew what wasn't me. I knew that because of my father telling me. Environment, it means a lot because of my father telling me he's seen something in me. Even though he knew that I was dyslexic. He knew that. I'm gonna bring that up because that was a part of my environment. If that wasn't a part of me, I probably wouldn't be a lot of who I am today because I had to push through a lot of things. I had to learn that stoicism through him, by watching. Oh man, you mean this man getting up every day, even though this is like this in this area, and he's still pushing forward? He's still in the gym room. Now he has some blind spots that I can sit back and talk about, but that's not for people to sit back and know. People want to know the negative as well as the positive, but I'm sitting here telling you, he had them. But regardless on what was going on, he still handled his business. He still loved everybody, regardless on how they felt about him. Now, I'm telling you, environment does a lot. It does a lot. That environment that I was in or what I was seeing, I knew like firsthand. My first time getting arrested, I knew like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. I'm seeing my boys get locked up. You know, seeing my boys pass away on the streets. You know, I've been jumped on a couple of times. Now, should I sit back and say, hey man, this is gonna be the rest of my life? I say, no. God's got something else in store for me. So, you know, always in search of that thing, you know, always looking up before I look down. I'm just getting on here today to sit back and tell you, man, your environment means a lot. Your environment influences your mindset. Catch what I say, please. One, watch the movements with the people that you surround yourself with and how they talk. If they talk negatively about the people around you, they talking bad about you too. And don't join in on that mess. If they want to talk positive, let's sit down and talk about our future, life, how we should guide each other as men. Can we get out there and talk about that for a second? Well, where's our blind spot? Hey, bro, you see my blind spot? You got my 6? Yeah, bro, you was kind of screwed up when you... Yeah, you see that? Right. You're right. And our pride can't get in the way of that. You know? Teddy or Mario, Dwayne, problem child. Even sometimes Quincy, they'll tell me some things. Say, hey, bro, you wrong. I like, you know what? You're right. I can absorb that, especially if they explain it in a certain type of way. If they explain it in a certain type of way. And it's not like they have to cuddle me by explaining it. I'm talking about articulation. I don't care. You can say it how you're gonna say it, but articulate to where I can understand it. I'm gonna take my feelings out of it. This how I can. It's not cuddle. I can understand it. Take your feelings out of what a person has to tell you about your blind spots. Just explain it to me in a way so I can understand it. You got people out there like that. I'm one of those people. There's no big eyes or little U's over here. I just need people to just look at the things around them. If you got an individual in your life, like I made a my Monday morning groove. Hey man, you got to get around somebody that's gonna rub off on you. That stoic individual that's gonna look at the situation and say, man, I got this, regardless. And you can be like, man, bro, you really really doing his thing, regardless of what's going on. He got his health problems going on. He's still pushing. My boy can't read a lick, but he's still going. He's got degrees. My boy got kicked out of high school. He's got his JED. Catch me, man. He got his GED. He's just pushing through whatever. Of course, yeah, he needs extra cash. He ain't going out and resorting to other things in order to get it. He's not part of that environment. I know what I'm a part of. And that's the Most High. He got to catch me, man. Yeah, I sin just like every other person, but you better believe I believe in God. I got faith. I might throw out a cuss word every once in a while, but does that make me imperfect? No, it don't. I might not even see the things the way you see it. Does that make me a bad person? Nah, but I'm not gonna look at you any different if you don't sit back and come on my side, on board with me on things. I'm not. I just say this: agree to disagree. That's what it is. Environments. That's what I grew up in. Everybody's not that though. That's why I'm getting out here and I'm asking everybody to sit back and check their environment. How positive or how negative it is. On the food tip, you gotta watch how you eat. Well, I'm just trying to enjoy my life. Well, you're gonna enjoy it when you're in that doctor's office. Man, I can share a lot about that. Health is very important. I'm gonna make a podcast about that too. But we on this. Health is actually a part of the environment. You can enjoy a good meal. I enjoy some homemade cookies though. I make my own cookies. You hear me? I eat at least 2 or 3 times out of the week. I go in there and bake because I make them. I stuff them jokers in the freezer. I pre-make them, stuff them in the freezer. I take out 2 or 3, and probably chew on some like 2 or 3 times out the week. Your environment, man. Your environment. I need to get on here and talk about some feelings too. That's real important. That's a huge part of your environment. Hey man, I'm not gonna keep you guys too long. I'm gonna read this quote. I don't have a name for the quote. You cannot escape the results of your thoughts. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your visions, your ideas. And man, change your environment. It'll change a lot about you. Hey, and always remember, look up before you look down. Thought-provoking podcast, man. Let's get into this work. Like,